South Africa celebrates National Disability Rights Awareness Month between the 3rd of November, culminating on International Day of Persons with Disabilities on the 3rd of December. So to mark this, the ArtsAbility Festival celebrates the abilities of artists with disabilities. Now, it's in its 8th year already, and it seeks to provide an innovative, creative space of exciting performances for disabled and able-bodied artists and performers. Now, it commences on the 29th of November at Artscape and brings to stage an array of breathtaking art pieces. Now, through inclusivity, performances, dialogue, and of course the workshops that will be taking place, the festival continues to use the arts to drive social transformation and also address that very pertinent issue that people with disability experience in their daily lives. Now, it further seeks to highlight the significance of accessibility and integration into the arts, all while celebrating the uniqueness that these artists have to offer. So I'm joined now by Marlene Le Roux, who is CEO at Artscape Theatre. Marlene, thank you so much for your time and welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning, Morning Live, for once again highlighting disability, because it needs to be on every institution and our government's agenda. We're using the arts as a vehicle also to look at how persons with disabilities must be mainstreamed on all levels of society. Our panel discussions will use the arts and look at the ability of persons with disabilities. We will tackle why aren't persons with disabilities in jobs, why are companies rather paying a fine, for instance, but they don't employ persons with disability. If we're looking at the ArtsAbility Festival, we have partnered with so many and wide international as well. But as you know, as arts, it's not been catered for persons with disabilities, and it's important that we say as a state theatre that we put artists with disabilities on stage to mainstream, but also to make persons with disability visible in our communities. Unmute Company, as you see now at the backdrop, is that the dancer that is dancing is deaf. So what we're saying that if you give persons with disabilities the opportunities to experience and also to be given the resources, because it's about equality but also with equity, important, if you give that resources to persons with disabilities, they will just flourish, and we will just, because I'm also a person with disabilities, and if this opportunity was not given to me to be in a workspace and given a platform, I will also just be sitting at my home. We don't want just to have a SASA card. We want to have dignity, and we use the arts as a vehicle. We have partnered now with the international group, Sensorium X, from all over the world, where we're busy composing an opera, Sensorium X opera, that looks at the non-speaking persons with disability, also to put that to the fore, that you can be in an opera. We're making use of multimedia, we're making use of artificial intelligence, so we would like to travel this particular production all over the world to say the lives of persons with disabilities do matter.
And indeed they do. You know, Marlene, I'm reminded of our Cape Town office, the Sea Point Studios. And as you go down to the radio studios, there are these beautiful portraits on the wall. And every time I go there, I actually go look at them and read, because it is, of course, depicting artists with disabilities. And it's just something that is really thought-provoking. And when you look at, you know, what persons with disabilities have to actually go through, just in terms of the challenges that they face in the arts, can we speak to those, you know, a little more discursively, also just to give our viewers an understanding of some of the barriers to entry and also accessibility that they have to grapple with?
Very important is that as an Artscape Theatre Centre, Artscape, we immediately have made an association. Unmute Company is a company that house persons with disabilities, artists, professional dancers from all kinds of disabilities, because disability is not a homogeneous group. And we decided that this will be one of our associated companies. It helps us for our theatre to be much more accessible, not just physical ramps. We look at, in particular, also for blind, for deaf, for if a patron comes with a child who has a condition of epileptic fit and the strobic lighting, we then engage with that parent in order for us to become much more knowledgeable. With resources, if you are a wheelchair-bound artist, you need to have a specific wheelchair. You need to re-rig also your theatre stages. How you're looking at cabling. So because I'm disabled, I'm very much in your face when it comes with technical riders, what our needs are, what the specifications should be of toilets, what the specifications should be and for rehearsals. So lobbying is very important. Also, that with a disability, you also need physio. If you can see Nadine, who is the founder member of Unmute Company, she's in a wheelchair. Now we're featuring Andile, who's deaf. He needs an interpreter. So we are pleading to funders to fund this particular company to do their work, and also to understand that the resources for artists with a disability is much more that they need. It is more funding that they need than a normal, if we could put that into brackets. To be equal and equitable, we need to say very clearly that an artist with a disability needs more funding in order for them to be equal in the arts world.
And what has government's response been? And I know, you work in this space, but just more generally, given that we are talking about a country that is cash-strapped, how have you found the going there? And also from the private sector perspective, are they actually willing to fund and put money into this very important initiative?
I want to say to you, Ebo, what is very important is that you mustn't give up. Where I am, we have decided that Unmute is our associated companies. And that is where you need to have the willingness to take that particular step and walk that. We're very grateful to the National Department of Arts and Culture that assisting us with the building, the provincial government that they're owning the building, and then the city of Cape Town that is helping us a little bit with the festival. We then have international funding through Sensorium Ex Opera. We also have from the Swiss that they're giving money for specific artists, a specific piece that we're going to feature. But overall, Unmute Company, who is an independent company who is based at Artscape, which we don't ask any money from as an Artscape theatre centre, because of that is our transformation and our social impact that we want to make. But again, they don't get seed funding from government, where government will say, for this particular company, we're giving money to pay the administrators, to pay that there is a company that is dignified and that they can get employment. And that is what we're using this particular festival for, the awareness that persons with disability needs to have a job. Just like any other artist, artists needs to be seen as professionalism, and also artists with disability even more, and that we need to say, government, come on board, ring fence money specifically for artists with disability and administrators who assist with disability to drive these particular companies. That is at this particular moment still lacking.
Well, Marlene Le Roux, I think we can go on speaking for so many more hours on this, but of course we have to park it there. But I think so important that you have highlighted this issue, and hopefully many have heard and seen the important work that you do and what still needs to be done, and hopefully they will come to the party. But I thank you, Marlene Le Roux, for your time this morning. Marlene is the CEO at Artscape Theatre in Cape Town. And of course, we're talking about the ArtsAbility Festival that celebrates the abilities of artists with disabilities.